Hello everyone, it is Shadowswim, and we are here today to present to you guys, well, I'm here rather to present to you guys some Dota 2 action. This is from the International 3 or 4, I believe. These games were just played like a day or 2 days ago. So let's go ahead and jump right into things. We've got Orange Neolution Esports versus Nas Venerus, or Vincere, or Navi versus Orange. Let's just go with that. So right now the bans are currently Darkseer, IO, and Batrider, respectively. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. These games are sure to be good because they're pros playing. Hey, pros playing, that just means better quality games for us to see, and allows me to go ahead and up my casting abilities. We got the Outroll Destroyer ban now. Or Devourer. Same thing. Destroyer, Devourer. They changed the names from Dota to Dota 2. No idea why, but some things were changed. And Visage gets picked. Nice pickup right there. Visage is both good for crowd control with his familiars, as well as just, big burst champion with just everything he's got. He is also good at disabler with his slow, and again the stuns from his familiars. Puts out a lot of damage with both his auto attacks, his soul burst, I believe it is. Forget the name of it. It's actually right here. His soul assumption, and again his familiars do a ton of damage. We're gonna see a Weaver from Navi, and who else are they gonna pick this time? Gotta remember it is in captain's mode, so it's gonna be pick, ban pick, so on and so forth, and then the champions will get delegated to who wants them. Looks like Navi's gonna go ahead and pick up Naga. Naga is a very, very strong just team fight champion. She allows people to either get a good initiation for her team, or for her team to run away due to her ultimate, the Siren Song. Or Song of the Siren, rather, and she's also great for just for stopping somebody in their tracks for 3 seconds with her net. Her net is awesome, as well as the minus armor from Riptide. That helps a lot, and people don't actually expect that to help, but it honestly does. And she's actually played more of a support, and we got a Nature's Prophet for Orange. That's going to be a nice split push option right there with Nature's Prophet. He's very good at split pushing when needed, and then he can teleport in with, his teleportation anywhere he needs to be in a pinch. He can go ahead, split push top, and then teleport bottom to help with a team fight. It's a nice thing to do with, Nature's Prophet, as well as he just does a lot of damage in general. And as I was going to say, we'll see Naga Simon here be playing as support, because they did nerf her overall damage, but she's still very, very good for damage, just not as good as she used to be. We got a Chen, as well as a Lifestealer band, so taking away a lot of strong junglers. Again, given Nature's Prophet can jungle and probably will be jungling, but Lifestealer, strong jungle. Chen, a very, very strong jungle. As well as if you put Lifestealer in the, solo lane, he will just go ahead and wreck somebody's face come late game with all that extra farm he's been able to get, without having to go ahead and, fight for CS or get babysat and, split the experience 2 ways. We got an Enchantress ban. She's a very potent jungler as well, due to, just the fact that she can go ahead and, charm neutrals, and her ultimate does make her very, very, very sporadic with the damage, and can go ahead and actually kill people as they're teleporting away. With that less impetus, it hits them and hits them like a truck and just kills them flat out. We've got a Sand King pick as well, or a Sand King ban rather. Another strong Disabler ban. So, just in general, a lot of Disablers and Junglers banned. We got a DK pick now for Navi. Let's see what Orange picks in retaliation. Because as of right now, you got your, your support, you're kind of your side pusher or your nuker, depending on how you want to look at it. Weaver's definitely just full-on carry. Not really much else Weaver will do besides do a ton of damage and hope to not die in a matter of seconds. Dragonite's very, very, very potent for just initiating those team fights with Dragon Tail, Dragon Blood and Elder Dragon Form really, really ramp up his team fight potential. And then you toss in Breath of Fire, or Breathe Fire. Very, very potent team fight champion, as well as, just a strong disabler and tank. Again, due to Dragon's Blood, due to Elder Dragon Form, he'll have more armor, more health regen, and a Nyx Assassin pickup. So it's going to be nice for both teams regardless as of right now. Navi and Orange both get one more pick, then they ban again. So we're going to have to see exactly what they pick and what they ban to tell exactly who's going to be playing what. Nyx Assassin's very, very nice. He can be played as support as well, which we may wind up seeing. Nyx Assassin, yes, he's nice to go ahead and assassinate squishy like Weaver or Naga. But when you have somebody like Dragon Knight, you're going to want the disable that Nyx Assassin brings in with that stun, as well as the mana burn and the spiked carapace. Yes, Vendetta is nice to, again, go ahead and try and snipe somebody, but really more often than not, you're going to go ahead and see Nyx Assassin try and get into a good position to quickly burst somebody, stun them, and allow his team to go ahead and finish the kill. We most likely won't be seeing a Dagon on this Nyx Assassin. We'll just have to see, though. We will certainly have to see. By the way, these games were just played, Tuesday, I believe? So, yeah, they are relatively new. Thankfully, I was able to get my hands on these, and, yeah, we bring you the best of 3 matchups from Navi versus Orange, and I forget which other 2 teams I've got, but I know all the replays I'm getting right now are from, the International, so we'll just have to see what happens. I haven't watched any of these games, or I may have and I forget, but again, so many things have happened in such little time, I probably forgot what happened this game, if I even did watch it. But a nice Bane pickup. It's a strong disable in the, just in the form of Enfeeble, as well as Nightmare, and that Fiend's Grip. Fiend's Grip is going to be very, very vital to shut down somebody like, Nature's Prophet in those team fights. Shut down, maybe Nyx Assassin if he's built, for damage and not support. But in general, we'll be seeing Bane go ahead and probably be support as well, just because, hey, that's, big help for that Dragon Knight and for that Weaver. Enfeeble alone, minus 120 damage with max rank Enfeeble. That's pretty big. Most champions will have that as base, if not maybe a little more than that, as their base. So that's a good chunk of damage just being sapped away right there with Enfeeble. And Tidehunter gets picked. That's a nice initiator for Orange. Very, very nice indeed. That Kraken Shell makes him very, very tough to kill. The Ravage, Blink Ravage is just insane to go up against, especially in the hands of a pro. And we got a Gyro ban as well.
Orange's turn to ban.
But looks like a lot of just strong disables and nukes for Orange right now. Again, nuke in the form of Visage's Soul Assumption, in the form of Nature Prophet's ult, Nyx Assassin, as well as Tidehunter with Gush and Ravage. And you can't forget the just survivability of that Tidehunter, again, with that Kraken Shell, as well as the damage reduction with that Anchor Smash. It will come in handy in a big, big way. And a Bounty Hunter ban coming out from Orange as their last ban. And a Mirana coming out as the final pick for Navi. Wonder what Orange will pick in retaliation. Well, obviously not in retaliation, but what they'll pick in return. Because, let's see here, we've got a nice 1 stun from Dragon Knight, an aimed, I want to say partial stun from Mirana, Because if she happens to miss that sacred arrow, her stun's gone for 17 seconds.
Reserve time.
But then you also have to factor into account, Naga Siren's Ensnare, as well as Bane's Enfeeble and Nightmare. I'm sorry, not Enfeeble, Fiend's Grip. That's a good, I want to say, 4 to 5 forms of, trapping somebody in one spot for a good few seconds. And if Mirana can land those 5-second stuns, Navi will be in a good position for a team fight, especially if it's on somebody, of vital importance, like, say, Nature's Prophet or Visage, or even Tidehunter if he gets caught in the back of the team fight and he's nowhere in use for 5 seconds. That comes in handy in a very big way. It's going to be an Alchemist coming out of Orange. And we got Dende going ahead and picking up Dragon Knight. We got Bot picking up Weaver. We've got Puppy picking up Bane. And Fun picking up Mirana. For Navi, that is. Still nobody's yet to pick up anything on Orange's side. But we will just have to see. And from what I hear, that Dende has a very good DK. So we'll just have to see. It looks like it's Neo SX as Visage, or Visage, however you want to pronounce it. Both are correct, in my book anyway. We've got Mushi going ahead and picking up Alchemist.
10 seconds
We've got
remaining.
KYXY going ahead and picking up Tidehunter.
5
Net picking up
seconds
Nyx Assassin. Kurok going ahead and picking up that Weaver, or that Naga rather. And yeah, this is just going to be it for
Prepare
now.
battle.
Let's go ahead and change it to free camera for us. Looks like that is one of their spectators. But yeah. Oh no, yeah, that was one of their spectators. Never mind. Gonna go ahead and have both teams just go ahead and place their wards down where they can. That's a very aggressive ward right there by Orange. Well, not even aggressive. That just allows them to see exactly who is in the bottom jungle and where. Are they taking this bush right up here, or that camp right there? They're taking the camp right here. And I believe the vision's also pretty huge. Yeah, it actually hits right over here, just barely though.
30 seconds
But again, that is
left.
huge. They can see Weaver right now just going bottom. They know that Weaver is bottom, and it's going to be a solo Weaver. But on the same hand, we have, just actually another Observer Ward coming out here by Orange. This time in a more sensible spot, going ahead and checking on that rune up top, as well as making sure if anything happens up here. We've got a Nightmare on that Nyx Assassin, and it looks like this Bane might actually go down here immediately. This Bane gets stunned by just everybody, and that will be a nice first blood by Visage right there. And looks like that Nyx Assassin goes in and dies to Naga. Naga's got to go ahead and get away right now, otherwise she will most certainly die as well. As well as that Mirana. And Mirana's going to go ahead and die. She whipped the arrow. Looks like that Nature's Prophet goes in and gets the kill on Mirana. And Naga gets the kill on Alchemist. Very good play by both teams. That's very big right there. And looks like it's Tidehunter versus Dragon Knight middle. We got Nature's Prophet that's just going to help put a little pressure early game. Nothing too major. Just going to go ahead and, it's going to let Tidehunter get the kill, get the CS. But just going to try and do some damage to that Dende and see what he can, do, and maybe push Dende out of the lane for, maybe 5-10 seconds. Just deny him some experience. But at the same hand, he's also denying Tidehunter that that fatty, beefy solo experience that he so wants and needs. Looks like Nature's Prophet now is going to go ahead and go bottom, contest this Weaver, which very good idea. Looks like the game has stabilized now. It's going to be Weaver versus Nature's Prophet bottom. Again, Tidehunter versus Dragon Knight middle. Up top, we've got a Mirana with, looks like Naga support versus Alchemist, as well as Nature's Prophet and Visage. Or, I'm sorry, not Nature's Prophet, Nyx Assassin. Again, I'm sick a little bit, so yeah, forgive me if I'm a little nasally. But just in general, we're going to have to see, you know, how this game pans out. Already we've got, you know, 10-3 less it's denies for Weaver, 8-0 for this Tidehunter, 7-2 for the Alchemist. Unless he doesn't even have Grievous Greed. No, he does not. He doesn't have Grievous Greed. He has 2 levels of Unstable Concoction right now. He's going to be going for a team fight build. And already Dragon Knight has his bottle, and he's got the Courier right behind him, trying to, you know, allow that Courier to maybe go ahead and become a Flying Courier, go back to base, and return the bottle back to Dragon Knight. Would not be a bad idea at all. In the meantime, you know, Tidehunter is getting a little free damage on Dragon Knight, and Dragon Knight's going ahead and, you know, returning the favor. But we just see right now the, you know, kills, you know, go ahead and favor of one side, or one champion per side right now. Looks like it's going to be Weaver and Tidehunter as well as Dragon Knight. And in the meantime, Visage gets the kill on Bane up at top. I'm assuming it's with that Soul Assumption yet again. And Bane teleports right back up top. And that's going to be 3v3 top. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see a creep pull here, maybe in the next 15 seconds or so, by either Nyx Assassin or by Visage. But again, we will just have to see. It looks like it might be Nyx Assassin, just that way they can go ahead and, you know, deny or delay their creeps from being top. And they're doing this with the most opportune time with that Siege minion, or Siege creep rather. So that way that's also being taken back for, you know, I want to say good 30 seconds or so, just denying, you know, even more of that experience to, you know, to that Mirana, to just everybody else on Navi that's up at top, which actually is nobody right now. We've got, you know, Bane going ahead and trying to, you know, do something here up at top, maybe get an Enfeeble, or not Enfeeble, get a Nightmare off onto the Nyx Assassin, you know, just try and harass a little bit. And we got a Sentry Ward being placed up by both teams, and Nyx Assassin doesn't see it. That is not good. He does not see the Sentry Ward that's being, well, that was placed there by, you know, Puppy, and he will see it now, and he should go ahead and kill it. No, he still doesn't see it. Either he doesn't see it or he doesn't care. And that's going to be dead Bane right there. Nice stun right there by both Alchemist and by Nyx Assassin. Visage goes down and gets the kill. And looks like, though, that's Alchemist might be in a heap of trouble right here, and he is. Nice kill right there by Mirana, right through the trees. Tidehunter goes ahead and activates haste and is going to try and come up top and maybe save one of his teammates. But it looks like right now that Mirana and the Naga will go ahead and get away. For now, at least. The Gush might come in here. The Gush does come in and comes in on that Naga. And Bane going in, slowing down that Tidehunter, just completely blocking his path for a good 5 seconds, allowing both Mirana and for Naga to go ahead and get away safely. Nice play right there by Bane. Yes, he did take some damage, but it's nothing that he can't recover from, you know, with a tango or two. And that, you know, that Alchemist not having Grievous Greed will come into effect in a huge way. Again, look at the CS right now. He's 14-2, you know, comparatively to, you know, Mirana, who's 13-2. You know, he's not that far ahead. You know, 1-2 CS isn't that big of a deal, especially when he doesn't have Grievous Greed. If he did, then that would be a huge deal, because that's just bonus gold coming his way. I want to see him go ahead and get, you know, a Hand of Midas. That would just go ahead and be a huge help for him. Be a huge help for both him and for Nature's Prophet if Nature's Prophet got that as well. Again, you gotta remember, Nature's Prophet's ult is global, so we'll hit, you know, a lot of stuff on the map, up to 18 targets. No, 16 without Scepter, 18 with. And you gotta remember that it does more damage the more times it bounces.
Dire's middle tower
But
is under attack.
this is just going to be, you know, we've got Naga chasing this Tidehunter down here, you know, just making sure that Tide can't really do anything to Dende right now. And Dende doing the best that he can to go ahead and do damage to that tower. That poison from Dende just doing some work right there. You know, just good plays in general by both teams.
Radiant
I mean, we can take a look at the kills right now. We got Visage that's 3-0. Then we got Naga who's 2-0.
Dire's middle tower
Marana that's
is under attack.
1-1, and a Nature's Prophet that's 1-0. Very, very evenly matched across the board. What's going to tell the tale is these, the creep kills. That really tells the tale. Weaver right now is way, way outdoing Nature's Prophet, but Nature's Prophet does have a kill, or he does have a kill under his belt, and that Weaver will go ahead and back away. He will take several hits from that tower, but again, nothing he can't regen through, just passive regen, as well as maybe get a tango to him, or even a healing salve from that, from that courier. But Weaver right now just raking in all that gold. 51 last hit, and then we got Dragon Knight right behind him with 42. Then it's Alchemist with 29. Alchemist is getting way out farmed here. And again, he doesn't have the Grievel's Greed. That comes into a big, big effect. Again, especially when your team, especially when you're almost on kill par with your lane counterparts, or you're supposed to be the carry and you can't really carry. But it looks like that top tower is going to go ahead and die here by Orange. Na'Vi will lose their first tier 1 tower. Tidehunter is going ahead and teleporting back middle here. And this DK is going ahead and just still, whittling away at that tower with that corrosive spit, and, allowing the siege minion to go ahead and do work. Tide might want to let that tower get to 10%. I believe it might be in range. 10% is what you need to have it at in order for it to be denied. It might be just a little too high on health. Maybe just a few points of health above that 10% mark. And we can see DK now is going to be able to do just a decent amount of damage to that Tidehunter. You got to remember the Corrosive Spit does go ahead and come into effect on those illusions as well. So we can go ahead and help take this tower out with that Corrosive Spit on that illusion. But that Tide should be able to go ahead and deny that tower. I don't think Tide realizes it. Actually, no, Visage does. Visage and both Nyx Assassin do. So they're going to go ahead and deny this. And that's a very good play by, call by them. They do not want, they don't want Na'Vi to go ahead and have any sort of gold advantage. Especially considering, two of their carries are, top on less or on CS. We can just go ahead and take a look right now at the, at the gold per minute. We've got Bane. Actually, let's go like this. We got Weaver at 390 gold per minute. Then it's Dragon Knight 337. Marana 253. And then for Orange, they've got 296 on that Alchemist and 256 on Tide. It looks like that Bane gets caught out right there by both Alchemist and by Tide. Weaver goes in and gets the kill on Nature's Prophet though. And Weaver's going to go ahead and try to get the kill on that Alchemist as well. He might be able to do it. No, the ult comes in here from Tide, and Tide will be able to get the kill right there on that Weaver with that Gush. Very good play right there with the Dust. That's going to be a dead Marana as well. Nice stun right there by Nyx Assassin. Tide gets the kill on Marana, and looks like that Siren gets the kill on Alchemist, and Dende trying to go ahead and do something here. That Dragon Knight just trying to get something to happen, but nothing does. He does have 6 stacks of that magic wand, so he could have replenished at least enough mana to go ahead and go into dragon form, as well as get some of that health back. But if we take, let me actually see if I can pull up the chart, because I know there's a chart that I can bring up, and no, unfortunately I can't. That is not the correct thing, so let's go ahead and take that out. I'm actually wondering where that chart is. Let's actually just see. Fantasy point, not a big deal. Again, what will tell the tale is the KD and the last hits denies right here. Actually, here's the graph. As far as experience earned, Navi's way ahead. Gold earned, again, Navi's way ahead. And it's slowly going back into that middle ground of, oh, no team's really that far ahead on gold. Na'Vi, for a long time, had a 10,000 gold advantage. Or, I'm sorry, 1,000 gold. But it looks like now that's going to be lessened by this second tower, or third tower kill. No, I'm sorry, second T1 tower kill here by Orange. You know, they will significantly reduce that. Yes, Navi's going ahead and pulling ahead, but it's gonna again go right back down to, you know, go back in favor of Orange a little bit. Again, we see it's close to that 0 again. It's actually just hovering over that 0, and now it's in favor of Navi. Or I'm sorry, in favor of Orange just slightly. So, very good play, and again, the experience chart tells a big tale as well. There's a 2,000 experience advantage in favor of Navi right now. That comes from just kills, that comes from, you know, solo lanes, comes from everything. So, you know, hopefully Orange can go ahead and turn this back into their favor, at least for a little bit. You know, just give themselves a shimmer of hope, because right now, their team fight potential is very, very huge, regardless of the fact that, you know, Alchemist still doesn't have Greevil's Greed at level 8. He wants that Unstable Concoction as well as Acid Spray to go ahead and be max. And we got a nice Unstable Concoction going ahead and stunning Alchemist here. Looks like he's going to go ahead and get denied. He commits suicide right there. Nature's Prophet gets the kill on Weaver. And Dragonite trying to maybe do something here onto this Tidehunter. Dragonite gets initiated on, just barely though, and he will get away. Tidehunter now has that mechanism. We got Nyx Assassin going, you know, with wards and general support items. Then we have Nature's Prophet, who doesn't have any sort of, you know, Hand of Midas or any sort of damage other than just his, you know, power treads. You know, then we've got Visage, who, you know, is going for pretty standard items as well. He does have that Smoke of Deceit to allow his team to go ahead and, you know, get a nice gank going. Looks like maybe on this Naga Siren. And the Dyer's Courier did get killed during all this, so they are minus a Courier for another 2.5 minutes. That's a big, big deal. And oh no, this Noggin is about to get killed. Nice stun right there by that Nyx, and Visage goes ahead and kills that Naga, ending her killing spree. Again, this is going to tilt that golden experience, you know, back in favor of Orange. Actually, gold right now is way in favor of Orange by close to 1,000 gold. And that's going to be, you know, Navi's final tier 1 tower taken down here by Orange. And there's nobody here to contest it by Navi. They're just saying, alright, let them go ahead and take it. We'll go and take their tier 1 top and maybe try and push their tier 1 bottom. But Nature's Prophet goes ahead and stops that push down at bottom. And Tide is just enough to scare away Mirana, Bane, as well as that Weaver. Weaver's going for that BKB, which he will definitely need versus that Tide ult, versus Nyx, as well as versus Alchemist stun. You want that Weaver to be alive. You need that Weaver to be alive for those team fights. Again though, Weaver's only at 180 or 891 health rather. And we see Arcane Boots galore for both Visage as well as for Naga. Another Smoke of Deceit for Visage on the, on Orange. Smoke of Deceit on Nyx, and we got Power Treads now onto Tide. Power Treads, I'm assuming he's going to keep its strength just because, first of all, he's strength as well as he likes the health. As well as he wants the damage. And it looks like right now, Navi's, putting themselves in a good position for this bot tower. And we got Nature's Prophet going and getting Shadow Blade. That will help him immensely just getting away from those team fights where, he doesn't have his teleportation on, it's not off of cooldown. He can't go and TP out because, he's in plain sight and can get stunned. And this will just allow him to go ahead and run away, get to a safe spot, then TP or teleport out. In the meantime, Visage goes ahead and gets the kill on Naga here in the jungle. That's... Right now, this Visage is 5-0, Siren is 3-2, Tide is 2-0, Nature's Prophet's 2-1. And looks like right now Orange is going to go ahead and get the kill on Roshan. That minus armor from, Alchemist's Acid Spray as well as the medallion here from Visage, that comes in big handy right now, and you can just see how quickly that Tide or Roshan is dying, and those trees are certainly gonna help. And they are now revealed by those creeps for the Radiant for Navi. That's very, very big. And Alchemist goes in, gets himself stunned. A nice kill right there by Murano with that Sacred Arrow. Murano's gonna go ahead and maybe try and get another kill. Nature's Prophet in the meantime gets the kill on Naga during all of this. Nature's Prophet nice and Sprout onto that Dragon Knight. Nature's Prophet picks up the kill on Dragon Knight as well. That's gonna be dead. Wow, dead Bane as well. Triple kill by that Nature's Prophet. And looks like that might be... Oh, Nature's Prophet was sprouting himself to go ahead and, just keep himself alive. Because the only two that could have actually done some damage to him at that point were Weaver and was Marana. But he was able to get away in time with teleport.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
And nice Aegis right there for that Alchemist. Alchemist definitely wants that, and he should be getting that Grievel's Greed hit, come level 10. He desperately needs that to get, catch back up in the gold. As we can see in last hits, Weaver is almost more than doubling that, Alchemist. If he had Grievel's Greed even level 1, it would be, different story. He would be just about on par with... he'd be just about on par with Dragon Knight and with Weaver. However, he doesn't have that just yet, but we did see Weaver go ahead and get that BKB finally finished. We got Alchemist now with that Shadow Blade. That'll make him even more devastating. That gives him a lot of damage, gives him a lot of attack speed. You gotta take into consideration as well that Chemical Rage giving him a lot of, attack speed as well. Base attack speed at 1.4 when he goes into that Chemical Rage. And he should be able to go ahead and stealth, right about, well, pretty much anywhere, Unstable Concoction stealth, and just, stun right on top of somebody, and just take them out in, 3 hits. Because that Unstable Concoction, if he's right next to them, it has almost literally no chance of blowing up in midair, which it actually can do. It's very, very, very vital he gets that stun off on, either onto Dragon Knight or onto Weaver. And that's going to be a dead T1 tower up at top. And good job by Navi right there, going in and picking that up. And DK could get the stun right there. He almost, I believe he does, he gets the stun. In the meantime, Nature's Prophet goes in and gets kill on Weaver. And nice Song of the Siren right there by Naga. And looks like all 3 up here on the... Well, for Navi, you're going to go ahead and get away with their scrolls. Marana right now is taking a ton of damage from those creeps in middle. And again, she's going ahead and building actually support items. She's got that Drum of Endurance. She has no real damage of her own right now. It's not just from her base as well as, phase boots. The real damage is coming from that Dragon Knight as well as from Weaver. Yes, Weaver died there, but... Weaver is a big source of damage with that Sakuchi as well as with Gemini attack. It's very, very, very key on, them going ahead and getting kills. And do we see, yes, finally Grievel's Greed on that Alchemist. And looks like that's going to be a dead T2 tower here on Navi's side of the map. And wow, Bane just taking a ton of damage. Again, Bane is supporting. There is that BKB on Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight now is very, very deadly. We can see Dende just going ahead and, trying to posture himself to be in a good spot to go ahead and Dragon form. Go ahead and ult. Go in real nice and close. Get the stun off with Dragon Tail. Which I'm surprised he only has level 1. But then again, he was trying to farm for a long time in mid. And he wanted that Breathe Fire to help him farm. So I wouldn't be surprised now to see Dragon Tail go ahead and get maxed now. We got a gem going out on Tide here. Considering, he should give that to Alchemist, again, because Alchemist has that Aegis, he's almost a safer bet, but Tide does have the health. He has, the mech. He has the cloak for that spell resist. Tide has everything going for him as far as just items go and as far as last hits go. I mean, yeah, he's not the great. He's actually getting out farmed right now by Mirana, but it's not a huge deal, especially considering Tide is 2-0, Mirana's 2-2, meaning Tide has not lost gold because he has not died. Every time you lose gold in Dota, you die. Or let me rephrase that. Every time you die in Dota, you lose gold. That's why a lot of times you'll see people try and frantically buy something before they die so that they can resell it if they don't need it the second they're dead, so they can retain their gold, or they'll try and keep as much gold as possible, lose the maximum amount, but still have enough for a buyback. It'll be one of the two. They'll have either enough for a buyback, or they can't buy back so they don't care. But it looks like right now, this Weaver going ahead and getting out of this bottom lane. He knows what's up. That Sentry Ward going ahead and just pretty much paying for itself right there. Allowing Weaver to go ahead and back out. And this Alchemist now has to catch up. Revel's Greed definitely going to go ahead and help him catch back up to, the farm of Weaver and the farm of DK and Nature's Prophet. And Naga now has a gem of her own. Let's see if that comes into effect. And 5 seconds stun right there into that Visage, but they cannot, Na'Vi cannot capitalize on that right now. Na'Vi cannot capitalize on that at all. And that's just not bueno for Na'Vi right now. They are, as far as experience, or as far as gold goes, they are 5 gold behind Na'Vi, or behind Orange rather. And as far as experience goes, they are about 4,000 gold behind Orange as well. They're 4,000 experience and about 5,000 gold. More than 5,000 gold now, getting close to that 6,000 mark, behind Orange. That's definitely not good considering how high, how far ahead they were, just a few minutes ago. We can see the experience differences starting to even up a little, starting to go in favor of Na'Vi just a little bit. Just a little bit. We see that Bane going ahead and completing that Inner Shadows. Really nice support item. Just an item in general for, just for anybody. It's a free heal pretty much. And next assassin goes ahead and picks up the urn as well. We see those familiars for Visage going ahead and just, playing scouts right now. And they will go ahead and be able to tell, exactly who's here in the middle. Even without the creep vision, they can still see, hey, Dragon Knight's here, Naga Siren's here. And Dragon Knight may be trying to go ahead and get that kill. No! Visage goes ahead and smartly resummons them. So they aren't worth gold to anybody right now, because they are with Visage. Again, Visage, same thing. And let's look at the KDA right now. 6-1 Nature's Prophet, 5-0 Visage, 3-3 Naga, and a 2-0 Tidehunter with a 2-2 Mirana. Followed that up by a 1-3 Weaver, 1-4 Alchemist, 0-1 Dragon Knight, 0-2 Nyx, and a 0-5 Bane. Really, the 0-5 Bane and the 0-2 Nyx aren't that big of a deal. They're playing supports and not really meant to go ahead and get kills. They're there to try and help their teammates, help Mirana get a kill, help, help Weaver get a kill, help Dragon Knight get a kill. We see the Scythe of Vice coming out now here for that Nature's Prophet. That's a dead Weaver right there. Weaver just gets caught out, and that's a gem coming onto the side. No! Bane will go ahead and pick that up, and he will teleport out. No! Oh, just barely Bane gets away. Bane barely able to get away from that team fight. Well, not even that team fight. That's just 5v1. And that's a second T2 tower now down for Na'Vi. They have just one T2 tower left. Then it's onto the racks that Orange can go. It's onto the T3 towers and the racks. So definitely not good. And now, Orange or Na'Vi trying to go ahead and just get some damage done with those illusions. Another 5-second stun right, 5-second stun right there by Mirana onto that Visage, but they just can't capitalize on that. That Visage has plus 26 armor thanks to Gravekeeper's Cloak, as well as from that Medallion of Courage. Bane now picking up the smoke of deceit for his team. Weaver right now should be working on that BKB, which he is. Or I'm sorry, the MKB, the Monkey King bar. Dragon Knight should be working on, he actually is working on the Shadow Blade. It's going to be very, very nice for him. Naga's working on, I wouldn't be surprised to see Naga go ahead and get, just another support item, get some more wards, get, something else. And Mirana looks like she's building towards a MKB. That Alchemist looks like he's going for a BKB as well. He has his Shadow Blade, he has Phase Boots. Nyx Assassin, he's got that Urn of Shadows. He's going, again, just some support items. He's going for, maybe a Sheep. He might be going for, just some sort of tanking ability, or tank ability. He might be going for a Heart. We don't know just yet. The Visage, we have no idea what he's going because he really, I would have to assume he might be going for an Aghanims. He does have that Ogre's Club as well as that point booster. He also has 1,400 gold that could again be for that Aghanims, make his familiars just even more worth it. That Nature's Prophet has the Shadow Blade, has Sight the Vice. Look at how quickly Roshan dies, by the way. -9 armor. Roshan's just taking a bunch of damage, and that's going to be nice Aegis for that Alchemist right there. And again, Navi finding this out a little too late, that Orange went ahead and got Baron, going ahead and getting Roshan. The Tide certainly could use that Blink anytime now. Go ahead and get that Blink Dagger. It's going to be nice for Tide. Blink in, go ahead and ult. Maybe go for a Refresher as well. I actually wouldn't say you would see a Refresher, but definitely Blink. And I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Force Staff as well on either onto Nature's Prophet or onto that Nyx Assassin. Maybe as well get that on Naga. That Weaver in the meantime trying to build up gold for that Monkey King bar. Naga just trying to build up gold for something. Dragon Knight trying to build up gold for his Shadow Blade. Nature's Prophet now building up gold for something else. He has 2.6k gold, close to 2.7. Again, the less it's Nyes right now, Weaver's still ahead. Just ahead barely versus that Nature's Prophet. And then right behind Nature's Prophet is Dragon Knight. Behind that is Alchemist, and Alchemist now playing catch up with Grievel's Greed. He will definitely be ahead, and oh my god, that 5-man push down here at bottom by Orange might go and get this, tier 3 tower. And no, looks like the, Bane, Dragon Knight, and Naga going ahead and just able to scare away or just stop the damage on that tower for a few seconds. And that's all they needed, was just a few seconds for their teammates to finally come down here. Now we see Orange going ahead and backing out here. They know they're ahead. As far as experience goes, they're ahead by 7.5k in total. They're ahead in gold by 12,000 and growing. That is a huge deal. I bet you anything, a lot of that is now coming from Alchemist with Grievel's Greed. That is a very, very big deal. This Weaver trying to get enough money for that. Oh, nice courier kill right there by Navi, going ahead and just intercepting that courier, so that way it's another 2.5-3 minute wait that Orange has to do. And oh my god, that's gonna be Nature's Prophet caught out here. Nature's Prophet has to try and get away here. He will not be able to. Weaver in the meantime gets killed on Visage. Weaver also gets killed on Nature's Prophet. Visage gets killed on Naga Siren. Tidehunter gets killed on Mirana. And that Tidehunter is trying to do work right now. Weaver gets the kill on Nyx Assassin. That's going to be a dead Nature's Prophet here in a few seconds. No! Bane goes ahead and denies himself. And, well, nice sheep right there. And Weaver trying to go ahead and get that ult up, but not able to. And Dende trying to get some extra kills in here. He will not be able to. Nature's Prophet will go ahead and survive. Alchemist gets a kill on Dragon Knight, and now that's going to have to be buybacks for the entirety of Na'Vi if they want to go ahead and survive this. Looks like we got the buybacks from Weaver, and Nagasime just rezzed in the nick of time. Morena now up, Priest of the Moon is up, and that Nature's Prophet is going to go ahead and push top. Nature's Prophet might be working on a BKB himself. I would not be surprised to see that. We got Alchemist with the BKB. No idea what Alchemist might get next. Might get the Maelstrom. We don't know. Tidehunter. Again, I have no idea what he's working on. Visage. Again, probably working on the Aghanims. Trying to get it. He might have his items for Aghanims on that courier that he's still waiting for it to respawn. Nyx Assassin. Might be working on a heart. Might be working on, Soul Booster. Or Bloodstone. We don't know. He could also be going for a heart. Right there's the Aghanims for Visage. And there's the Blacking Bar right there for Morana. We might see a Rod of Atos as well on that Nyx Assassin. Trying to build up on stats. That way that's, a nice slow for his team. Another gem coming out here. That is very, very, very telling that they want to go ahead and clear wards. They don't want that Smoke of Deceit to catch them off guard. They don't want their jungle warded. And right now we see, just the entirety of Na'Vi trying to go ahead and maybe set up a gank here. They will try and clear out wards again. And we see Naga working maybe on, might be working on that mechanism finally, 33 minutes into the game, getting a mechanism finally is not good, but at the same time, it's still finally nice that they got that, and we were finally able to afford that BKB, or that Demon Edge, rather. There's that BKB, speaking of, for Nature's Prophet. And now Weaver's trying to go ahead and work on that final Javelin for his Monkey King bar. That is going to be a big chunk of damage increase for that Weaver. Again, with that Gemini attack. And just in general, the mini stun will come in handy versus somebody like Nature's Prophet who will try and teleport out. Or, somebody like Alchemist who's gonna go ahead and pop Chemical Rage and, just try and get as many auto attacks in as possible. We might also see, an Assault Keras come out for that Alchemist. And they, they're just letting that Alchemist go ahead and farm with that Grievel's Greed now. Grievel's Greed does play a huge role. Look at that, 14,000 gold difference between Orange and Na'Vi. In favor of Orange. Experience might be a different tale now. No, it's still 10,000 in favor of Orange. That's still very, very telling. And that's going to be Bot being pushed right here by Orange. They're trying yet again to, push, but also they don't want to get trapped like they did last time, where they just got hit from the flank. And there's that Assault Keras right there from Alchemist. Alchemist now has very, very high base attack speed. He has very high armor. He has, decent amount of health. Not Tidehunter amount of health, but nice enough. And there's that blink on Tidehunter finally. I believe he got that a few minutes ago when the courier respawned, but this is going to be a big race right here. The entirety of Na'Vi has to come back here and defend this, and right there is the fortification for Na'Vi, and I wouldn't be surprised seeing Naga try and jump in right here and just ult. See how many she can get, sleeping. And nice start right there onto that Nyx Assassin. Ult comes out here from Tidehunter, but doesn't catch anybody. They all pop their BKBs, and that's going to be one dead Nature's Prophet if he's not careful. Morana, in the meantime, got killed by Nyx Assassin. Nature's Prophet gets killed by Nalgun. Visage gets killed on Weaver, and that's going to be a dead Tidehunter, or dead Dragon Knight. And Nature's Prophet now goes ahead and gets the kill onto Bane. That's going to be dead bot for Na'Vi. And the GG comes out here from Na'Vi. So Na'Vi going ahead and just saying, GG, you guys won in this best of 3 series. Na'Vi will go ahead and bring this to game 2. Again, best of 3 series. anything can happen. We will just have to see what happens in this next game. So let's just take a look right now at the differences as far as gold goes, as far as experience goes, and items go. So gold wise, it's in favor of orange by roughly a little over 15,000. Experience wise, it's in orange's favor by a little over 12,000. And item wise, we can see Nature's Prophet has that Shadow Blade, the Sight Device for the sheep. You know, we got the Blacking Bar as well for Nature's Prophet, allowing him to become just immune to all spells for several seconds. Then for Tidehunter, we've got the Blink, we've got the Mechanism, and we got an Ulti Orb. For Visage, we've got the Aghanim Scepter, we've got the Medallion of Courage, which that's always helpful. Then we've got the Gem. You know, that's also helpful for catching, you know, somebody like, say, Mirana when she pops her ultimate, for catching Weaver, for catching, you know, Dragonite as well with that Shadow Blade. For Nyx Assassin, he's got the Urn of Shadow, he's got Arcane Boots, as well as the Vitality Boost. And for Alchemist, we've got Shadow Blade, Phase Boots, Blacking Bar, and Assault Cuirass. That is a lot of gold that Alchemist was able to get just thanks to Grievel's Greed. As we can see, Alchemist with close to 500 gold a minute, and the closest that comes up to that on Navi, you know, on Navi's team, is going to be that Weaver with 367. That is still a huge world difference. That is 124 gold per minute difference. That is huge. Mirana for Navi has a Blacking Bar, Phase Boots, and Drums. Then we've got Naga, who has Headdress, Arcane Boots, and some wards. Then we've got Dragonite, who has a Blacking Bar. He's got the Shadow Blade, and then his, you know, Power Treads. Then we got Weaver, who was working on that Monkey King bar, has Blacking Bar, and has his boots. And then we have Bane, who just has his boots and Urn. Probably had a couple of gems mixed in as Urn. Yeah, probably bought a couple of gems, bought several wards, bought dust, bought smoke. All of that just really adds up, and we can see just how the gold differences, you know, can affect, and just that Grievel's Greed coming to big effect for that Alchemist, allowing him to go ahead and get that Assault Cuirass, get that Blacking Bar, get the items he needed to actually be valuable as just more than, hey, I got a stun. You know, we saw him build, you know, the Unstable Concoction and Acid Spray first to be good for initiating and supporting in those team fights. But he needed to be able to be useful for himself and be able to actually get the kills himself as well. That's why he needed that Grievel's Greed to go ahead and get that Assault Cuirass, get the Blacking Bar. And we'll just have to see what Navi can do in game number 2 in this best of 3 series. My name has been Shadowswelm. If you liked the video, go ahead and thumbs it up. And as always, I will talk to you all next time.